and then here. All right, so we have here one more time. I'm practicing this, right? Abstract. A purely peer-to-peer version of electronic cash would allow online payments to be sent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. Digital structures provide part of the solution, but the main benefits are lost if a trusted third party is still required to prevent double spending. We propose a solution to the double spending problem using a peer-to-peer network. The network timestamps transactions by hashing them into an ongoing chain of hash-based proof of work, forming a record that cannot be changed without redoing the proof of work. The longest chain not only serves as proof of the sequence of events witnessed, but the proof that it came from the largest pool of CPU power. This is the part I like the most. As long as the majority of the CPU power is controlled by nodes that are not cooperating to attack the network, and then in parentheses here, this is where we add to help record the transactions, right? So that's going to be where honest nodes, or these nodes not cooperating to attack the network, would be all the computers and computing power committed to mining right now, right? And mining is creating this ongoing chain of transactions, right? Because you know that already, because you've done that from your research before. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Controlled by nodes that are not cooperating to attack the network, they'll generate the longest chain and outpace attackers. The network itself requires minimal structure. Messages are broadcast on a best effort basis, and nodes can leave and rejoin the network at will, accepting the longest proof of work chain as proof of what happened while they were gone. So a couple of this is the quick summary, right? It's hard to read this all and understand it start to finish is one thing I've understood, especially with English being your second language. But you have a stronger IT background than I do. And let's say that this is written by a genius, and many people have a hard time understanding genius work. Yes?
Yeah.
Right? So maybe we can even understand all the words, but not even get the right idea, right? That would be fair. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
Cool. Yeah. Okay, cool. So one quick thing I'll show you is the little schematic that Satoshi Nakamoto included of how the transactions are made. It's so beautiful and clean, right? When I first started looking at this, I always focused on this, right? And I tried to make the path, right? So it goes that the owner signs, and then the signature is on the transaction block or piece of information or data, right? Okay. And then owner two's public key is also signed, right, by owner two, and then so on and so forth, right? So you know this phrase now, so on and so forth, continuing. And so the blockchain now, starting from the first Bitcoin, includes that owner one's public key all the way up to owner 999 or XXX, right? Or owner 99999, maybe, in theory, yes?
Yes.
Okay, in theory. Okay, so, and then that's where I kind of go into this part here, right? Like when they were talking about honest nodes and attacker nodes, or calculation, or attacker nodes and honest nodes, right? Controlled by nodes not working to attack the system, okay? All right, so it's that I love the way that this genius wrote this and organized this paper. That's where I take a moment to say this, okay? Because I'll read you this part and then we'll go through the outline, all right? So calculations here. We consider the scenario of an attacker trying to generate an alternate chain faster than the honest chain. Even if this is accomplished, it does not throw the system open to arbitrary changes, such as creating value out of thin air or taking money that never belonged to the attacker, right? So I'll finish the paragraph. Nodes are not going to accept an invalid transaction as payment, as honest nodes will never accept a block containing them. An attacker can only try to change one of his own transactions to take back money he recently spent. So the system by design is that a hacker can only change his own transactions.
Yeah.
Right. And that was something I learned from reading this. And I was like, wow, that's very cool. It's very beautiful, right? It's gorgeous, right? Next here is that you have the idiom out of thin air, right? Like, which is omuluklukui, right? Or Harry Potter, right? Okay. So here, or taking money that never belonged to the system, and then that would be the extension or the evidence to the point that I made before, right? Remember PDA, right? PDA. Okay, cool. The next thing is gambler's ruin, which is awesome. And then I'll relate it in two different ways, which one is in programming and the other one is in life philosophy, I believe. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. The race between the honest chain and attacker chain can be characterized as a binomial random walk. I don't know what that is. The successive. Oh wait, I do know what it is now. Kind of. All right. The success event is the honest chain being extended by one block, increasing its lead by +1. The failure event is the attacker's chain being extended by one block, reducing the gap by -1. So it means that in order to, based on this paper, in order to hack it, you have to make the chain faster than the transactions that are made. Right? And that's the way that you can hack it. Does that make any sense? Because I don't fully understand it either.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. All right, because that's like before. Remember, this was written by a very smart person or group, right?
Yeah.
And they summarized the concept in 9 pages, which I think is an incredible achievement. Right, incredible achievement for sure. Okay, but in summary, for me, what this means is that the miners calculating transactions for Bitcoin or Ether, right? Or any other cryptocurrency, right? Every time a transaction is made, they extend it by one block. Yes?
Yep.
Right. And anytime there's like a new wallet or new key that goes into the chain. Yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so that's the success event. Okay. And then before, this guy, he said that you have to be able to make a attacker chain faster than the honest chain in order to change your transaction. Right.
Yeah.
Well, let me give you a use case. All right. I'll give you a use case. Okay. Let's give you a use case here real quick. Let's go with CryptoPunks. So I guess looking at it from a hacker perspective, if you could do it, if you could have more CPU power than all the combined miners, this would be the way to steal it, right? It would be where I think, I'm not 100% sure, all right? I'm not 100% sure, but it looks like this. On this CryptoPunk right now, right, the most recent bid on it on this website updated is November 9th, 2021. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So I am under the understanding here, right, that when you bid, you cannot take your money back, right? When you bid and they accept your bid, that transaction happens automatically. I could be wrong though. Okay. Could be wrong. Okay. I'm not really sure 100%. But if that is the case, okay, if that is the case, if you bid and they can accept, and there's like an arbitrary place that your coins are held, right? Your tokens, your data, right, for that are held. Then in that case, you could complete the transaction with a very high bid and then hack it and take back and change your transaction after you receive the item, right? In the case of an NFT. Right, that would be the, I guess, motivation to hack, right? But what that would require, right, is that you would have to have more computing CPU power than everyone mining all crypto, pretty much. But in a sense, like, yeah, for, we can't, without talking more about it now. Yes. Okay, cool. All right, so the next part here is the fun part, all right? The probability of an attacker catching up from a given deficit is analogous to a gambler's ruin problem, right? So similar, right? Or it's like an analogy, or here's a story, right? So there's a gambler and he has unlimited credit, right? And he starts at a deficit, which is like -100, -1 million. Okay, -100, start, yeah, -1 million, -100, like this. Okay. All right. And he can play infinite times. And the goal is to break even. All right. And so I like this part here because they have a formula to calculate that to try to break a program or try to hack a program. Right. And then that's the key point that I really love about this white paper, about how Satoshi Nakamoto organized it to where it includes the best way to break his solution. Right. And that's the part that I thought that was really amazing in programming and for life philosophy. Right. Where in programming, you design programs and codes and systems where the coder, the architect, thinks about the best way to crack their system, and they already plan for that. Right. And then in life, it's that you do the same thing for problems or solutions or ideas. Right. And I like that, you know, that's that I like. And I thought if he is he's not a Japanese guy, but, or he might be, I have no idea. Right. But if he's a Japanese guy, I just imagined him like in some mountain somewhere with like awesome internet writing this, you know, and then thinking about like, this is the way to like look at life and coding. You know, right? And like that's where I thought it was like, oh man, this is cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
Like, cool. Yeah, okay, cool. And then after that, he does include all the p-values, right? And then one interesting conclusion from this is that running some results, we can see the probability drop off exponentially with Z, right? I'm not really sure exactly what Z is without analyzing it more. I have to read here Z blocks, number of blocks. So with the higher number of blocks, the chance that they can hack it, it becomes less than 0.1%. Right. And then that's the end of the paper. And he goes into his conclusion. All right. Okay, now I'll read the conclusion here to you. Okay. Yeah. We have proposed a system for electronic transactions without relying on trust. We started with the usual framework of coins made from digital signatures, which provides strong control of ownership, but is incomplete without a way to prevent double spending. To solve this, we proposed a peer-to-peer network using proof of work to record a public history of transactions that quickly becomes computationally impractical for an attacker to change if honest nodes control a majority of CPU power. Right. And so everything I explained, that's the Ria-Proi version of it. Okay. All right. The network is robust in its unstructured simplicity. Nodes work all at once with little coordination. They do not need to be identified since messages are not routed to any particular place and only need to be delivered on a best effort basis. Nodes can leave and rejoin the network at will. That's connecting to the introduction again, right? Accepting the proof of work chain as proof of what happened while they were gone. And you are a good person to start imagining what this looks like in your brain, right? I think you are seeing it clearly, more clearly than I am. Okay. All right. I'll say that part again, right? Leave and rejoin the network at will, accepting the proof of work chain as proof of what happened while they were gone. Right? They vote with their CPU power, expressing their acceptance of valid blocks by working on extending them and rejecting invalid blocks by refusing to work on them. Any needed rules and incentives can be enforced with this consensus mechanism. Okay. All right, can you do me a favor real quick and search for if a Thai person translated this?
Let me check.
Okay. Oh wait, I didn't read the introduction to you. While you're checking, I'll read the introduction. Okay, and then we'll go your round. Okay. Commerce on the internet has come to rely almost exclusively on financial institutions serving as trusted third parties to process electronic payments. While the system works well enough for most transactions, it still suffers from the inherent weaknesses of the trust-based model. Completely non-reversible transactions are not really possible, since financial institutions cannot avoid mediating disputes. The cost of mediation increases transaction costs, limiting the minimum practical transaction size, cutting off the possibility for small casual transactions. There's a broader cost in the loss of ability to make non-reversible payments for non-reversible services. Paraphrased and summarized, right? It's just the banking system and all of the logistical costs of transactions. Clear?
Clear.
Okay, all right. Here, the cost of mediation, with the possibility of reversal, the need for trust spreads. Merchants must be wary of their customers, hassling them for more information than they would otherwise need. A certain percentage of fraud is accepted as unavoidable. These costs of payments uncertainties can be avoided in person by using physical currency, but no mechanism exists to make payments over a communication channel without a trusted party. All right, so I like the way that he or she or they explained this. It's that when he says there can be avoided, right? So cost and payment uncertainties can be avoided. So he doesn't say that it's impossible in person, right? Mm-hmm. So like if I'm giving you money in person, you can check and see if it feels like real money, right? That's just, that'll be the way that you can avoid it. And what he's saying is that online though, is that there is no verification process, right? And the only verification process we have right now is the bank.
Yes,
right? And
correct.
the little picture they generate, and then the picture that people send to each other, right? Which is funny because it's just a picture, right? In reality, it's just a picture, right? It's linked with the number, and that's linked to a backend system, yes, right? But physically, the person really only gets a picture on the communications channel, which is crazy if you think about that, right? They're totally separate, right? They really are. And like what this person is talking about, or team, is that they're together, right? And I think it's awesome that we're looking at this almost 20 years later when it's super popular, right? And like, I don't know what % of the planet read this paper in English, but I think it's for you and your business, it's a good read, right? For me going into the future, it's a good read. I like reading stuff written by smart people, it's really, really fun, right? Because you just try to understand what they're saying. And the coolest part is that, you think about Albert Einstein. He said, if you can't explain it simply, you don't know it well enough.
Yeah.
Then when I read this introduction here, it's relatively clear and simple, Okay, all right. In the next paragraph here, what is needed is an electronic payment system based on cryptographic proof instead of trust, allowing any two willing parties to transact directly with each other without the need for a trusted third party. Transactions are computationally impractical to reverse, would protect sellers from fraud, and routine escrow mechanisms could easily be implemented to protect buyers. In this paper, we propose a solution to the double spending problem using a peer-to-peer distributed timestamp server to generate computational proof of the chronological order of transactions. The system is secure as long as honest nodes collectively control more CPU power than any cooperating group of attacker nodes. All right, so I've read this like 5 times now, okay? All right, the middle parts 2 times. And I learned something new this time around. The data they're saving is only the timestamp. Oh my God. Like I thought it was more before. Okay? Right, like I thought it was more before, but I realize right now it's really just the timestamp. Oh my God. And so the hash is the timestamp. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Oh my God. All right, that took a long time to understand. I'm sorry, I'm slow. Okay, all right. Okay. All right, there it is. So now we have to practice English and read it aloud, right? I will give you one main point here, is that as you read it, if you come across a word that you're not sure how it sounds, right? You can stop and then tell me to say it, and I'll say it 3 times for you.
Okay.
Right, and then you continue from that word. Clear?
Clear.
All right. Our goal is to read the title, abstract, introduction, and conclusion. Depending on how your voice energy goes, right? Vocal energy goes, we can read one middle section. Okay?
Okay.
Okay, all right. You may begin whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready. Okay, Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electric cash system. Abstract, a purely peer-to-peer version of electric cash would allow online payment to be spent directly from one party to another without going through a financial institution. Digital signatures provide part of the solution, but the main benefits are lost if a trusted third party is still required to prevent double spending. We propose a solution to double spending problem using a peer-to-peer network. The network timestamps transactions by hashing them into an ongoing chain of hash-based proof of work, forming a record that cannot be changed without redoing the proof of work. The longest chain not only serves as proof of the sequence of event weakness, but proof that it came from the largest pool of CPU power. As long as a majority of CPU power is controlled by nodes that are not cooperating to attack the network, they'll generate the longest chain and outpatch attackers. The network itself requires minimum structure. Messages are broadcast on the base effort basis, and nodes can leave and rejoin the network at will, accepting the longest proof of work chains as proof of what happened while they were gone.
Okay. All right. Now, let's change up the flow for this one, okay? All right, let's change up the flow. Let's go one sentence at a time, right? So you go one sentence and I'll go one sentence.
Okay, sure.
All right. Introduction, you may begin.
Introduction. Commercial on the internet has come to rely almost exclusively on financial institutions serving as trust third parties to process electric payments.
Wait, oh, time out here. Okay, all right, let's go here. Remember, sorry, I have to zoom in a little bit better. Okay, all right. Oh, I can't. This is annoying. Okay. Let me try something real fast here for you. Look. Okay, so when we look at this word here, this is commerce. Commerce. Good. All right. And then here we have, oh, this one is rely. Rely. All right. And then this one we have here, exclusively. All right. And then this one again, we have institutions.
Institution.
Good. All right. And electronic.
Electronic.
Good. Okay. All right. Nice and clear. I am getting older and I'm starting to like skip words when I read, right? Or when I'm typing, I leave out words sometimes, right? So don't feel bad. We're getting older. Okay. Okay. It's all good. Okay. All right. Young kids, they can do this a little bit better than us, but we still got to try. Okay. All right. Still got to try. We're like old dogs, golf, right? Old dogs got to keep the mind sharp.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is why it's good for you and good for me. All right. So I'm going to read a few words and then you repeat. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Commerce on the internet.
Commerce on the internet
has come to rely. Almost exclusively. Exclusively. Like clue.
Exclusively.
All right. And then on financial institutions. Serving as trusted third parties. To process electronic payments. Nice. Good. Okay. All right. Good. All right. So here I have to read the next one. While the system works well enough for most transactions, it still suffers from the inherent weakness of the trust-based model. All right. Now for this one, Golf, just try these 4 words together first, okay. Right? And you're just trying to develop your flow, right? So you go completely non-reversible transactions. It's hard, right? Completely non-reversible transactions. All right, you try.
Completely non-reversible transactions.
Good. That was nice, slow, and clear. All right. Now try to put it together as like one subject.
Okay. Completely non-reversible transactions.
Okay, you got it now, right? So that's the pattern, right? So it's like slow and clear first, but remember the matrix, right? I think I'm losing it. Welcome back. All right. Remember when we talked about the matrix is that you're trying to see the subject as you're pronouncing it.
Okay.
Right. And so when I look at this, I see the subject, and the subject is completely non-reversible transactions, right? And so that's where I'll try to say these three words clearly together, right? Speed it up a little bit, you know, completely non-reversible transactions. All right, you try.
Completely non-reversible transactions.
Good. Right. There you go. All right. So not a lot of people use 3-word long subjects, right? Like these very long words. It's like, I don't know, 15 syllables in there. You know, it's a long phrase for the subject, right? 15 syllables plus, like completely, completely non-reversible transactions. It's 14 syllables in the subject, right? That's a lot, you know? You're okay. And then are not really possible since financial institutions cannot avoid mediating disputes, right? So you have are not really possible. You try.
Are not really possible since financial institutions cannot avoid mediating dispute.
Good, good. Yep. And then remember, bro, right? It's my job, right? If there's a word you're not sure about, you know, and you're not sure about how it sounds, you can always say it, right? Like as a student, whenever I'm with like Bank and Mink learning Thai, I ask them to say stuff like all the time.
Okay.
Right? Like, really regularly, because it does help, you know, it does help. Like I want to hear something, I hear it, and then it helps me like recognize.
Okay, sure.
Right. Okay, cool, cool. All right, let's see here. The cost of mediation increases transaction costs, limiting the minimum practical transaction size and cutting off the possibility for small casual transactions. There's a broader loss. I'm trying to go fast now. And the loss of ability to make non-reversible payments for non-reversible services. With the possibility of reversal, the need for trust spreads. Merchants need to be wary of their customers hassling them for more information than they would otherwise need. A certain percentage of fraud is accepted as unavoidable. These costs and payment uncertainties can be avoided in person by using physical currency, but no mechanism exists in your payments for a communications channel without a trusted party. All right, go. One sentence, go.
What is needed? What is needed? What is needed is an electronic payment system based on cryptography, proof in this of trust, allowing any two willing parties to transact directly with each other without the need for a trusted third party. Transactions.
Okay, all right, you got it. Okay, all right. And then I'm just trying to go fast to get through it, bro. Right? Okay, all right. This was supposed to be a 30-minute exercise. Okay. Transactions that are computationally impractical to reverse would protect sellers from fraud, and routine escrow mechanisms could easily be implemented to protect buyers. In this paper, we propose a solution to the double spending problem using a peer-to-peer distributed timestamp server to generate computational proof of the chronological order of transactions. The system is secure as long as nodes honest. Oh my God. The system. Okay, you try it. All right, you go ahead. All right, you can do better.
Okay, the system is secure as long as honest nodes collectively control more CPU power than any cooperating group of attacker nodes.
Better, nice. Okay, and then one pronunciation note is no H sound here.
Honest. Okay.
Good. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now conclusion. We have to do the conclusion. We're committed, golf. We're committed. Okay. All right. Here we go. Conclusion. We have proposed a system for electronic transactions without relying on trust.
We start with the usual, right? We started with the usual framework of coin made from the digital made from digital signature. which provides strong control of ownership but is incomplete without a way to prevent double spending.
To solve this, we proposed a peer-to-peer network using a proof of work to record a public transaction, public history of transactions that quickly becomes computationally impractical for an attacker to change if honest nodes control a majority of CPU power.
The network is robust. It is unstructured, simplicity, node work or
Simplicity.
simplicity.
That was one sentence. Nodes work all at once with little coordination.
They do not need to be identified since messages are not routed to any particular place and only need to be delivered on the base effort basis.
Nodes can leave and rejoin. Oh my goodness, I must be sleepy. I'm sleepy. All right. Nodes can leave and rejoin the network at will, accepting the proof of work chain as proof of what happened while they were gone.
They vote with their CPU power, expressing their acceptance of valid blocks by working on extending them to rejoining invalid blocks.
Rejecting.
To rejecting invalid blocks by refusing to work on them.
Any needed rules and incentives can be enforced with this consensus mechanism. Okay, all right, we did it. Oh, we did it. All right. Okay, all right. Now, you still have about like 70% of this paper to read, and I do strongly recommend it. We can cover it in bits and pieces, right? We're not university students anymore, so we don't have to like sit down and study the whole thing, right? But it would be good to, right? And I did it once and maybe like 50% twice, but I think it helped me understand what was happening in the world right now, right? I can tell you that much. Okay, all right, cool. All right, so there's that, stopping the recording.